Everyone keeps asking the same two questions. Are interest rates finally going to come down, or are home prices going to crash in 2026? Because if both of those things happen at the same time, then I would definitely say waiting is the right move. But if they don't, waiting could cost you more than buying a house right now. So in this video, I'm going to break down what interest rates and home prices are really expected to do for 2026, what the data actually says, not the headlines, and what buyers need to know before making a decision that could affect their finances for decades. So here's the big picture. First, let's zoom out. The housing market in 2026 is not shaping up to be dramatic, but it is stabilizing. After years of fast price growth and elevated mortgage rates, experts agree the market is entering a slower, calmer phase, not necessarily cheaper or easier, just more predictable. So, mortgage rates have cooled from their peaks, home prices are no longer exploding, but affordability is definitely still tight. And that's why 2026 is less about timing the market and more about understanding how it actually works. Let's start with interest rates because this is the number one reason buyers are still sitting on the sidelines. Mortgage rates peaked at around 7% in 2025, then eased to the low sixes at the end of the year. As of late 2025, the average 30-year mortgage rate was around 6.22, according to Freddie Mac, which is a major government investor. So what happens in 2026? Most major forecasts, including Fannie Mae, Redfin, Zillow, Realtor, mortgage bankers, all point to the same thing. And that's that mortgage rates are expected to dip slightly, but not collapse, which we want. Fannie Mae projects 30-year rates around 5.9%, Redfin 6.3%, National Association of Realtors hover around 6%. Nobody really knows, but we can definitely take a guess. So they may improve, but we're not going to go back to that 3 or 4% anytime soon, which we definitely don't want as well. So here's the most important part that people misunderstand. Even though the Federal Reserve has already cut rates by about a point and three quarters, mortgage rates haven't followed. And that's because mortgage rates track long-term treasury yields, not the Fed's overnight rate, more specifically 10-year treasury. So economists warn the budget deficits, inflation expectations, and global uncertainty will likely keep long-term rates from falling dramatically. Even if the Fed cuts again, mortgage rates may only move modestly. We want a slight, we don't want to collapse. And that's why experts in 2026 will likely say there's going to be periodic dips, but not a sustained free fall, not a permanent reset. And this is where the strategy matters. Here's what buyers need to understand. A small rate drop does help, but it doesn't fix affordability by itself. If rates fall from 6.4 to 5.9, your payment improves, but not enough to offset rising prices, property taxes, definitely insurance, especially in Texas. That's why many buyers are using a smarter approach. Marry the house, date the rate. Buy when the numbers work today, and then refinance later if the rates improve. Just a cherry on top. And the data supports this. The Mortgage Bankers Association expects refinance activity to increase in 2026, not because rates are amazing, but because even small dips create a lot of opportunity. Let's talk about the question everyone's afraid to ask. Are home prices finally going down? Short answer, no. Not nationally. Every major forecast agrees on this. Home price growth is expected to slow, not reverse. Although I will say in Dallas, over the past 12 months, maybe 6 to 12 months, they have gone down by 1%, 2%. The hot markets where everybody was moving in 2023 and COVID have dipped down a little bit since then. Nationally, it's stayed about the same. Now, nationally, Zillow projects about 1.2% in 2026 of growth, of appreciation. Redfin about 1%. So prices aren't exploding, but they're also not crashing. And here's why. For prices to fall meaningfully, you need forced selling, layoffs, foreclosures, distressed inventory. Basically, you need an economic disaster, nobody's buying a house, market crashes. And let me tell you, the people who own a house, myself included, don't want the price to go down too much because that's where our equity is. And that distressed inventory, like I mentioned earlier, is not happening at scale. Still below pre-pandemic levels in many markets, especially Northeast and Midwest. And like I said, not down the South. At the same time, housing shortages remain the biggest affordability issue nationwide. So instead of crashes, we're seeing something different. Fewer bidding wars, more negotiation, more price stability, which is not bad news. It's actually healthier, but it also means waiting for a price drop, generally a losing strategy. One of the most important 2026 trends is regional divergence. High cost coastal markets in parts of the Northeast remain expensive and supply constrained. Many areas in the South and Midwest offer better affordability, even if prices are still rising, like I mentioned. Cities like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Detroit, St. Louis, Louisville, Memphis, Oklahoma City, and parts of Arizona are being highlighted by economists as relatively affordable. So, what separates these markets isn't just price, it's property taxes, insurance, which are huge. Major affordability drivers are property taxes and insurance. Bottom line, there are deals, but they may not be where you currently live. Now, buyers who succeed in 2026 are doing three things differently. First, they're considering adjustable rate mortgages. ARMs now make up about 10% of new mortgages, higher than the historical average because they offer lower initial payments. Now, they're not for everyone, but for buyers with strong credit and a plan, it can create real savings. Second, they're looking at new construction. Builders are offering incentives like rate buy downs, closing cost credits, design upgrades. In fact, recent data shows new homes selling for less on average than existing homes, something we haven't seen in years. Third, they're focusing on financial readiness, not predictions, paying down debt, building reserves, getting pre approved early. That is vital because personal math matters more than forecasts. So here's the truth about 2026. Interest rates may improve slightly. Home prices are expected to stabilize, not crash. Thank goodness. Affordability improves slowly, but not suddenly. The winners in 2026 won't be the people who waited for the perfect conditions, because there never will be. They'll be the people who understood the market, ran the numbers, and moved when it made sense for them. If you want help breaking down your local market, payment scenarios, smart financing strategies, that's exactly what I do. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.